So today we're going to do something a little different, or I guess I'm going to do something a little different. So it's going to be like a month challenge, kind of to myself and anyone who wants to do this too at some point. It doesn't have to be the month that I'm doing it. It's whenever you run across it and decide I want to do some introspection. So it's going to first be, each video will be a meditation for, I'm guessing, between 5 to 15 minutes, depending on kind of what comes up. And then either drawing or writing out a reflection. So I've got an unlined notebook, which means that I could doodle. I have my pens and stuff over here, or I could just write out whatever comes up. You do whatever format works for you. I think that's about it. I do know today's meditation is going to be about disappointment. So we're going to tap into a time where we might have felt or still feel maybe some disappointment. Our expectations weren't met, which is where disappointment tends to come from. It might be disappointment with ourselves, it might be disappointment with the situation, but we're going to tap into that, and then we're going to journal on it, and hopefully that brings some release. So go ahead and get into a comfortable position. I'm going to be in my chair, kind of cross-legged. You can be laying down. Just make sure that you have a soft surface beneath you, either laying down or sitting. And then if you are sitting, even if you're laying down, make sure that your shoulders are kind of rolled back. Your spine is nice and neutral. If you're in a chair that has a back or without a back, just making sure that those hips are equidistant, that you're feeling like they're even and balanced. That spine is long, but in the neutral spine, so we don't want to try to hypercorrect. They're curves for a reason. Shoulders are back, and try to keep that jaw relaxed. Especially, no matter the position, we tend to carry a lot of tension in our shoulders, our hips, our jaw, our neck. So trying to be mindful of that when we get into position. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead now. We're going to close our eyes, me included. We're going to take a deep breath. We want to feel that breath in our diaphragm as our abdomen rises and falls. We want to allow our back to sink into the surface behind it, our hips, glutes to sink in to the surface, our legs, either planted or lying flat, should also feel like they're held and supported. Shoulders feeling heavy as we take another deep breath in and a deep breath out. Just paying attention to that breath. And I'm going to count us down from 5. With each number, we're going to feel more and more relaxed in the space. Our body's feeling heavy, but our breath staying regular as we go into a deeper state of relaxation. Start at 5, feeling as the crown of our head starts to relax. Our eyes feel heavy. Throat relaxes into the earth or the air. 4, we feel our shoulders relax, melting down. Our arms, forearms, fingers, all just feel at ease. The muscles start to relax. And our chest and back melt away, tension releasing. 3, We feel our breastbone, our abdomens, our digestive organs, our core, back muscles start to release. 2, we feel our hips, our lower body, our thighs, knees sink into relaxation. The muscles untightening. 1, we feel as our shins, our feet, our toes, everything is relaxed. Now, we find ourselves walking towards a large building. The building might be a school, it might be a home, but it feels familiar. And as we walk into the building, we find a corridor. We walk down the hallway, passing a few doors on either side, till we come to the end of the hallway. And we find one door with a handle on it. We choose to open up the door, and as we go inside, we see a room with a scene playing out. And in the scene, we see a younger version of ourselves. We get to the heart of the first time we really felt like we were a disappointment, or like we were disappointing others, or like we were being disappointed by others. We see the fear in us, the anger, the agitation, the insecurity. And we go up to the little us and the younger us, even if it's by a few days. And we ask them why. They might whisper it to us. We might give them a pen and a piece of paper. We allow them the space to tell us why. What were the expectations? How did we feel like we weren't meeting them? Or how did we feel like our surroundings weren't meeting our expectations? And while the inner us is doing this, they might need a hug. They might need a punching bag. They might need a tissue. We give them the space to feel what they need to feel. Now in front of us, the scene, regardless of whether it was a boardroom, a family dinner, or class, turns into a classroom. And all of the people that we have ever felt disappointed by, or that we have ever felt like we disappointed, sit in the school chairs in front of us, at the desks, or at the head of the class. As we stare out at the faces that elicit different emotions. We take a breath. The younger us, the inner child us, goes up to the board, and we allow that child to write their truth, whatever it might be. We let them write what their actual desire is for the world, who they hope to be. We let all notions of who we're supposed to be, how we should act, who others should be and how they should act, release. As we do this, we feel a wave of white light wash over all of the classroom chairs, all the desks, all the people, maybe rows and rows of people we had felt disappointed by and that we had felt we had disappointed. We allow that light stemming from the chalkboard, from the words of our truth, to wash over those people, those images, those beings. And as we do, the scene transforms. And instead of a classroom, we're now on a beach, looking at a wide ocean. We stare knowing that we have an ocean of possibilities ahead of us. The world is vast. When we're truly ourselves, we can't really disappoint anyone. We can only find those that align or don't align. And when we don't align, we can detach with love, knowing that no one was wrong, no one was bad, but that we have varying opinions. And we see as the ocean washes away all those fears, all those feelings of not being good enough that are left over. We allow ourselves and the inner child to play. When we take the original piece of paper, if they wrote something down or if we wrote something down about feeling like a disappointment or being disappointed, and from it we make a little raft, a little boat. We set it down in the ocean. We allow the waves to take it away, to transmute it and clear it. And as we're letting the boat go in the ocean, we see as a school of playful fish come to say hello. They dance around us, excited for our change. And we slowly walk out of the water, holding our higher self or our child self's hand. And as we come onto the beach, the adult us or the older us embraces the inner child, allowing it to meld into us, being a part of us, accepting and embracing those insecurities of the past, allowing them to make us feel stronger in who we are now. When we walk up the path of the sand through a gate, and we stand looking in the distance at a beautiful beach. We take a second to breathe, allowing any residual feelings, energy that needs to be transmuted to move through the breeze, meeting the water. Then I'm going to count up from 1 to 5 as we start to come back into our bodies. becoming aware slowly of our breath. Count to 1, breathing in and out deeply with that diaphragm. 2, feeling as the muscles start to wake up, your hands, forearms, feet, shins. 3, we start to feel our neck, our back, our shoulders, our hips. 4, so we start to feel our jaw, our eyes, our ears, our face start to come alive. Taking a deep breath, we feel energy back. We feel very awake. And 5, we open up our eyes. So now I'm going to actually use my handy dandy stopwatch and journal for 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to say today probably 10 minutes of journaling. And then I'll cut the video. If you're at home and you're still journaling, you can journal past the 10 minutes. It's just early and I have things to do. Oh, no. Well, part of it is it's early, I have things to do, and part of it is I think it's important to get it out and to allow ourselves time, not to push ourselves past the point of what we have space for. So if you're doodling, please feel free to doodle or paint. If you're journaling with words, please feel free to get that out, or if you're typing it, whatever works for you. But we're going to get started in 10 minutes. Go. All right, so that's 10 minutes. If you're not done, if you got more flow, go ahead and finish. If you're drawing, doodling, keep going, whatever works for you. I'll share a little bit about what I experienced. If you watch this and want to share in the comments, that's cool. I think everyone should have a slightly different what happened for them. So, and I like being a little transparent. Anyway, so when I went into the meditative-ish state, because I'm also guiding through, so I'm only going so deep, it was kind of interesting. I didn't expect a school to pop up for me, but it did. And then I kind of remembered that for me, growing up, I got told very often that I was socially awkward by especially my dad. I didn't really experience that from the other kids, especially when I was really young. I think I always just felt really comfortable and confident in myself. And so if I really just wanted to read a book over in the corner, then I felt perfectly fine with that. And when I wanted to interact with kids, especially at a really young age, it seemed to go fine. I just, had a certain temperament and wanted to when I wanted to. And I have two very traditionally extroverted parents. So for them, the fact that I wasn't quite like that, and then that the school was slightly concerned when I was a kid, kind of bred this weird idea at home that I had social issues. Mind you, I died when I was 4 or 5, and there's a lot going on. So it made sense actually that a school popped up, because I think that for me, I've always kind of walked that line of being afraid that going back really, really far, that I couldn't relate to others, or that others didn't like me when I was naturally me. And so that created a very long line of behaviors related to people pleasing, and then also feeling like intelligence was the only way to really connect with people. And when I actually observe myself, it tends to be, I'm very compassionate and forgiving, and I try to see other people's perspectives and take the whole situation into account. And even when someone does hurt me, or when there's something that I really, really am excited about and doesn't quite go the way that I was hoping, I still take myself out of it and try to really see the other person or the situation for what it is and let go of that. So in reality, I get along with people, and I generally do just because I care. And sometimes, like everybody else, I have my awkwardness, and I think everyone has that. And I also have the rate at which I like to socialize. So that's really what came up for me, was just those weird things where sometimes our parent or guardian or the people that we grow up around, we're just kind of different in temperament from them. And because we're different and they don't always understand that we're going to do things differently, especially if you're older. I'm only 34, but if you're like in different age ranges, parents weren't as hip to the idea of letting your child have their own personality. And so there might have been red flags or people wanting us to be ways that we're not naturally. Anyway, so that's what came up for me. I journaled about it in the once upon a time format, because I like telling stories when I journal, or writing in screenplay form, which I wasn't going to do today. So I hope this was helpful. I hope whatever came up for you, maybe you knew it was going to come up. I didn't know it was going to come up. But that writing about it or doodling out whatever worked, hopefully you feel a little lighter, at least kind of know this is where this pattern is coming from. And once we know a pattern is coming from someplace, we can actually face it. And we don't know, when we keep ourselves in the dark, we tend to succumb to those fears, those feelings of inadequacies, whatever they might be. So if you had an experience you want to talk about, get vulnerable about, drop it in the comments. I will look at them. I think it's cool just to see how different things hit different people. So thanks, and have a great day.